Hey everyone, it's Rebecca with Team Ladybug, and I am here with the September 2024 Beetle Box nails. Let's see what came in this month's box. The first thing is a HEMA-free polish called Drac Attack. This is a cat eye gel, and on the back is the QL where you can get the MSDS. We also got some crystals. These are quite a variety of colors that go with the decals and also the polish, the Drac Attack. They're really pretty, different sizes for whatever you need them for. Then we also got 3 different 3-foot pieces of foil. You could have gotten any number of foils, but most of them have Dracula or bats on them to go with the polish, and they're all Halloween themed. Then we also got these really pretty decals. They're 3D and just a good selection to choose from, haunted kind of theme. I really like the butterflies. On to what we're using. I've got Velvet Touch Matte Top Gel, Ladybug Luster Wet Look Top Gel. I've used No Buff on the press-on nails, foil gel, and also one stroke paint. I've used number 15, which is the black. And you're going to need some of the Crystal Embossing Gel, which is the clear whipped cream gel. From the Red Carpet series, we need Metallic Glaze. And then from the Eye Candy collection, I've got number 30, the Candyman Can, number 74, which is Gummy Bear, number 76, You're a Lifesaver, number 107, I'm Nuts About You, and 110, which is Midnight Licorice. For brushes, I am using a 00 and a 9mm, so I recommend both of those brushes for this. I also am using a crystal picker and a set of tweezers. The first thing you want to use is No Buff on your nail tips so that you can make sure the base coat sticks. So I'm just going to do all 5 nails with this. I'm going to apply base coat and cure. For my first nail, I'm going to take the Candyman Can, put a coat of that, and then a foil gel and cure for 2 minutes. Let's look through these foils and see what you could have got. There are some spooky trees and haunted houses and skeletons and bats and pumpkins and cats. There's ghosts and more skeletons. Ooh, and little tombstones and cauldrons. I know all of the foils have bats, and some of them have vampires as well. So you just need to pick out what you want on the bottom of your nail. I'm going to go with a vampire. I like that guy, but I think I like this one a little bit more. So let's go with one of the bigger ones to put at the base of the nail. Okay, so let's grab this little guy, cut him out so we can put him right on the nail. It's just, now that we have our item cut out, we are going to secure it to the nail and just rub on. You can use a tool or your finger. I like gloves when I use foil. It can get kind of staticky, but it's really good for press. Once that's fully secured onto the nail, we're going to peel back from the base. In order to protect the nail, we will use Metallic Glaze. Just put a nice thin layer over this, and then you will fully cure for the next step. Now we're going to use Tracy's technique. I'm going to use Midnight Licorice number 110, and I'm just going to put some of that on my palette. Then I'll add 76, You're a Lifesaver, put that on my palette. I will take 74, Gummy Bear, and put that on my palette. And 107, I'm Nuts About You, put that on my palette. And 30, let's throw that in, the Candyman Can on the palette. So get your 00 brush and you're just going to take little dots of color and put them around. Depending on the foil piece that you chose, you're going to want to match up sort of the colors a little bit because you want to blend it into the background. We're using Tracy's technique, which is unconventional, and I love it, where we blend out the polish. So you do not need very much, just little dabs. I'm going to clean off my brush and go to the next color. Okay, some of the I'm Nuts About You. Clean off my brush again. Midnight Licorice, put that around. Don't do too much, don't overdo it, just little dabs. And clean off my brush. Take a look and see if you think it needs anything else. I'm just going to add some of the Candyman can to blend in. I don't want the dark colors to overtake the whole nail, but I think this looks good. So let's get some acetone and start blending. I'm just dabbing. I still have the 00 brush, so I'm not using that much acetone, but I am getting a little bit just to blend this color out. You can always add more color. You can always use a little bit more acetone. We've got the metallic glaze on, so it's not going to mess up our foil. Just keep blending a little bit with acetone for your background. It's sort of like using alcohol ink, but in a more controlled way. Just keep blending until you get the color you want. I don't want it too dark in the background, but I also don't want the background to be just a foil with white. So I'm just going to keep using the acetone and blending it out until I think that I like it. Again, we can add more color as we go along. I want it to be kind of cloudy, mysterious, because he's Dracula. Probably going to add some more color up at the top, but I think this looks good. His face is a little dark, so let's clean that up. Just keep blending. Clean him up a little bit, or clean up whatever you've used. You could use other colors if you use like Frankenstein, or if you use something else. Just make sure that your polish colors sort of go with the foil itself, and that will make it look more hand painted and more individualized. Color in the bottom here. I think it looks good, but I also think it needs sky. And we're going to do something else at the top here. So I'm just going to add some more color and blend it out with the acetone. Just keep blending until you like what you've got. I want it to look sort of doomy, gloomy, cloudy, Halloweeny. Add more paint, add more acetone, whatever you need. I'm going to do a little bit more of the Midnight Licorice over here, and some Gummy Bear, acetone, and I'm just blending this out. So I'm going to keep going until I have everything the way I want in the background, because now I want to add something up at the top. Once you're happy with how the background looks, go ahead and cure so this is set in place. Clean up his face a little bit there, and we'll be back. Okay, now that I have his background done, I want to get my 9mm brush, and I'm going to make some little bats in the sky. These are fairly simple. You don't have to be perfect at this. Just do a little body, like with the barest amount on your brush, And then I'm going to wipe off the brush because I want to do the wings, but I want to make sure the wings are sort of evenly spaced, so I'm going to add dots here for where my wings are. I don't want my wing to be one side really big and one side really small. So there's the bottom of his body, there's going to be the center of the wing, and another dot out here for the other part, and then the tip of the wing. And then I'm going to draw that on for the body. This will be the biggest bat on the nail, or the closest one to us. So then I'll just draw my little top line, and then we will put the bottom waves on for the wing. Fill that in. Don't forget, you've already cured everything, so if you make a mistake at this point, you can just wipe it off and redo your bat. Or if you have a bat decal, you could throw that on there for the main bat, or even one of your foils. You could have done that, but I didn't. Now I'm just going to finish the dots on the other wing to sort of line up and draw the wing on as well. Then once you've got the wing filled in, where you can add some extra bats on the top. Our main bat is big and the rest of the bats will be smaller. So go ahead and make these look kind of like birds, because once the main bat's there, everybody will get the idea that those are smaller bats in the background. And just turn and add a few flying off in the distance farther away. I think this main bat needs some ears, so I'm just going to add 2 little ears onto him, make him more bat-like. And then once we're happy with the design and we have all the bats on, you can go ahead and cure. Okay, let's actually do a foil nail with bats. So I've used the Candyman can, and then I've added a layer of foil gel and cured that for 2 minutes. And now I'm just going to grab a couple of bats from a couple of different foils. I'm pretty sure everybody has bats in the foils that they got, and if you don't, hopefully you have bats or you can draw them. But just take your bats and place them, just a couple, on the nails. These are ones that we don't have to really take a lot of time with. We're trying to do some quick, easy nail art. So just put your bats on. I'm going to put the other one sort of angled the other way because they're flying. And just scrape these on. Use a squeegee tool, use whatever you want to use, because we're only going to put these 2 pieces of foil on. And make sure they're adhered well before you peel them up. And there we go. Okay, so I'm going to take Velvet Touch Matte Top Gel, and I'm just going to put it over the top of these, because we're going to do the same effect that we did on the Dracula. And we're going to get our 00 brush, same colors on the palette, it's the same palette, and we're just going to add a little bit of the Midnight Licorice, which is the black, around the bat. And I actually like the white defining around these, but you could, use the ones that don't have the white around them. And I'm just going to grab a bunch of different colors from here. The brown, which is I'm Nuts About You, the red, which is You're a Lifesaver, the blue, which is Gummy Bear, and the black, which is Midnight Licorice. Acetone and blend. So I'm going to wipe off my brush a little bit in between. I don't want to blend the colors too much. Acetone. blend. It looks like a muddled mess right now, but once you use a bunch of acetone and move it around, again, you can add more color if you use too much acetone, but just blend it out because we want it to look sort of like a gloomy, cloudy sky where a vampire might come and get you. I'm just going to keep going here. Depending on the size of your nail and also depending on which bats you chose, you may need to fill in more space. I think the 2 bats are good. You could probably throw a 3rd one on if you wanted to, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to blend out here and see how the white line is making it so that there's a little bit of outline around the bats so they don't blend into the background. If you did not choose a bat with white, you may want to take some of the Candyman can and put that around just to pop your bat out or make it more noticeable in the background. Also, you can take the Candyman can and add that in just to make your background a little paler if you've added too much of the other colors, because we don't want it all one solid blob of color. We want it to be mottled and cloudy and just a deep, dark, sort of spooky sky. Once you're happy with the way this turns out, you're going to cure this, because it is gel polish, and then you'll take either a matte or shiny top coat and apply it. Okay, let's talk about this Drac Attack gel polish. This is a HEMA-free cat eye. It's actually a limited edition and it's part of the Drop Dead Disco collection. So if you've got that collection, you'll be happy that you got this one in your box. It's a really pretty red and it looks different over different colors, but let me just show you. It is a sparkly neon flash gel cat eye. It's all of those things in one. Look at just using the regular technique that Tracy uses. And I'm just going to show you how vibrant this cat eye is. This is just over itself, so I haven't really done too much. I'm just going to show you with a magnet what a good pull it has with the cat eye. Just for fun, I've taken your Lifesaver and put that as a base coat. That's number 76. And we are going to put Drac Attack over the top of this. I just want to show you what it looks like over a solid red. It makes it a little bit more not so neon and more of a regular red cat eye, which is really, really pretty. Just show you pushing the magnet so that you can see the red underneath. Just a nice solid red. So here's a side-by-side comparison, the Drac Attack over your Lifesaver or just sheer. A little bit different. This one pops a little more. If you put it over itself, it'll pop the same, but it won't be the same as putting it over your Lifesaver. Top coat, and you're done. Now let's take Drac Attack and we're going to put it over Midnight Licorice. So I'm just going to take a tiny bit of that and put it on my palette. We don't need much, just a little bit. And then I want to draw, I'm taking the now popular bat that everybody's doing, a French bat. I'm going to draw 2 dots on either side of the nail, and then I'm going to pull down to make my French tip, deep, deep French tip. And I'm using the 9mm brush. Then I'm going to come back in and just fill it in with the brush itself. Depending on the length of the nail, you may want to do this with the 9mm the whole way, or a 0-0, or you can use the brush if you feel confident in your polishing abilities. So I'm just going to fill that in over the black, and then we're going to take our magnet and push this in towards the center. If I had two magnets, I'd probably do them both at the same time, but I think this looks good. It gives us a little bit of the flash and the cat eye. So that's cured, and I'm going to come back in with the Ladybug Luster Wet Look Top Gel. I'm just going to polish the whole nail, just give it a nice coat, and then we'll cure. Okay, these are the crystals that came in this month's Beetle Box, and let me put them in the lid, but I actually think I'm going to put them on my palette because I need to figure out exactly what I'm using. So I'm going to dump them and spread them out to find the colors and the sizes that I want for this bat. Get your Crystal Embossing Gel, which is the clear whipped cream, and we're going to put this on for the center of the bat. I'm just going to draw a little bit there. It's nice because it stays in place and it doesn't move around, so I do suggest using this particular product for this technique if you want the bat to not have the gel spread all over the place. So I just want a spot for the head and the body, and I'm going to go through my crystals and pick out the right sizes. It's a little blurry, you can't see what the crystals I'm picking, but I'm doing a small crystal for the head and a medium crystal for the bottom and a large crystal for the body. So let's put the body on first. Make sure that's right. Then let me see, a little bit more gel I need right here. Just put it so it's right, and then put the body on, the medium size one, and then a smaller crystal for the head, and then we can go ahead and cure that. We've only put the gel on for the body and the head, so go ahead and cure. Okay, now we can do the wings. You can either do both sides at the same time or do one side and then the other. So I'm just going to put the gel on where I figure it's going to go. We can add more gel if we need to, and I'm going to go ahead and do both sides because I want them to be absolutely equal and the same size crystals and the same sort of placement. And if I put the crystals on, I might not remember where I placed the gel. So I'm going to go ahead and do both. And again, this is whipped cream gel. It's not going anywhere. So I think that size for there. I'm going to go ahead and pick out the crystals that go together. So this is easier if you do it ahead of time to match up your crystal size instead of just trying to figure out what size you put on there. Because there's such a variety of sizes in here, I recommend you get a bunch of them together. Even if you're not going to use them all, at least you have the same sizes and you have a bunch to choose from. Because not every nail shape obviously is the same and not every size is the same. So if you're doing a smaller nail or a bigger nail, you want to have plenty of those crystals to choose from in matching sizes, so you don't have to figure out, oh, was this the same? Anyway, just match them up. When we start to place them on the body, we want the smaller crystals to be closer to the body and then the larger crystals to be where the points of the bat wings come down. So you can do a little bit bigger coming down, or you could do 3 of the same size and then a very small one at the point. Just depends on what color you're using and how you're doing this. I found that the red worked really well with the Drac attack, but if you're using a different polish, your bat could be different colored crystals. And just trying to find matching sizes again. Should have got a lot of these done beforehand, but here we are. Okay. So I'm going to place them on the wings, and I'm going to do the same size going up so I don't forget what I did. So I'll just work both sides of the nail at the same time. A little bit bigger there for the other point on the bat wing. And then smallest crystals going up to the top or to the very edge of where we painted. If you don't want your smile line to be that deep, you could do these smaller, but this is the popular bet that's going around that people are just painting on. I thought I would change it up and add crystals to it. Okay, once we reach the top, it looks good, but I want him to have ears, so I'm going to add a little bit more of the Crystal Embossing Gel, and we will put 2 little tiny crystals, the tiniest ones we can find, for bat ears. And then he's done and we can cure. So I also have done it in the other color crystals that were in the package, and you can see how it changes the color of the cat eye, and I really like the red a lot better. I'm going to polish a nail with the Candyman can again, and then I'm going to top coat with matte top coat and cure. Let's take these decals and see what we can do. So I really like the portraits, and again, I love that butterfly and the dragonflies. You could take these and do the same sort of technique I did with the gel polish, but I am going to do something different. So I'm going to take one of the portrait ones. I'm going to put it right in the center of the nail. And then I am going to make sure it's pressed down. Then we're going to top coat with Velvet Touch Matte Top Gel because we're going to do a different technique over this. Fully cure the top gel. We will come in with our 00 brush and all the colors that are on our palette from the other nails. So I'm going to take Drac Attack and I'm going to finish drawing underneath the frame the body of the woman in the portrait. I'm just going to give her a dress. It doesn't have to be exactly like this. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're just going to fill in underneath the frame. Don't go into the frame or over. We're going to put it underneath and fill in with some of the colors. So you're a Lifesaver and the Drac Attack and maybe the Candyman can. You could even put in some of the I'm Nuts About You if you want to make it a little bit darker. I am just filling this in and adding a little bit of the color here and there. It does not have to be perfect, but her dress is a little whiter than that, so we'll probably have to add some of the white. Just keep going. I like the different shades of the Euro Lifesaver and Drac Attack together. Candyman can see how we're going to draw her arm there and the body. Just give it a little bit different shading. Her arm.
All I know is that she planned on it.
And
she had those
straight out.
she had the ones that were like
a cross shape, but I don't know if that's what Pete got those.
Let's bend it. Give her a little bend in the arm. Darker underneath the arm to add some distinction here. More shading in the dress. Just use your colors and make it look sort of dress-like. Does not have to be perfect. it's a dress. We're not going for fine details here. And then just keep messing with it a little bit. She should have a hand, and I can't use the Candyman can because that's my background color. So I'm going to add a little white to the palette and give her a hand. So add a little hand. It's probably not going to be that important if you do this part because we're going to add some one-stroke paint around the outside. So just get your sponge, put some of the black on the palette, and then we will do a little bit of a border on this nail. Nice light, but it gives it a little bit of depth and vintagey kind of look. Keep going around until you're happy with how it is. You can keep it at one coat, or you can cure this and go ahead and put a second coat on. I'm going to leave it at the one coat, and then I'm going to top coat with Wet Look Top Gel for a nice shiny. You could do matte, but I want shiny. And that's your 5 nails for this month. I hope you enjoyed these as much as I had fun creating them for you, and we hope that you recreate these and use your foils. Please tag us in any designs you do. Thanks again, and see you next month for the Beetle Box.